What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. So, Black History Month, day one. We're going to start with the Greensboro sit-ins, which actually took place on February 1st, 1960. You guys may be familiar with the Greensboro sit-ins, but let's just go ahead and give ourselves a refresher course, and just in case. And if it's new information, great. I hope you learned something today. When four black students refused to move from a segregated Woolworth's lunch counter in 1960, nationwide student activism gained momentum. On February 1st, 1960, four black college freshmen, Joseph McNeil, Franklin McCain, Azil Blair, and David Richmond, sat down at a whites-only Woolworth's counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, and politely asked for service. The white waiter refused and suggested they get a takeout meal from the stand-up counter, but the students did not budge. The store manager then approached the men, asking them to leave, but they did not move. They also did not give up their seats when a police officer arrived and menacingly slapped his nightstick against his hand, directing them to leave. While lunch counter sit-ins had taken place before, the four young men from North Carolina A&T State University drew national attention to the cause. By simply remaining in their seats peacefully and quietly, they caused havoc to the staff, and it left them unsure as to how to move forward. This was a small victory, and one that would build. The Greensboro Four's efforts inspired a sit-in movement that eventually spread to 55 cities in 13 states. And not only were lunch counters across the country integrated, but one by one, the student movement was galvanized. So let me give you a little background, because I think most of us know that story. But let me give you guys a little background as to where this started and how this came from and how this came about. The Greensboro sit-in was not a random act of rebellion, but the result of months of planning. The students had received guidance from their mentor, activists, and collaborated with students from Greensboro's all-women's Bennett College. Okay. In late 1959, the Greensboro Four participated in NAACP meetings at Bennett College, where they collaborated with the women students known as Bennett Bells on a plan. The Bells resolved to serve as a lookout when the four men took their seats at the lunch counter on the first day. They had a strong black community in Greensboro that was steeped in the struggle and willing to support young people by way of moral and financial support. Another critical part of the protest was the looping in the media. Multiple lunch counter sit-ins had taken place in the Midwest. Demonstrators, but those demonstrators did not garner national attention. The Greensboro Four wanted their protest to get recognition. So before heading to Woolworths on February 1st, they arranged for Ralph Johns, a white businessman and activist, to alert the press about the plans. Word quickly spread about the Greensboro sit-in, and both North Carolina A&T and Bennett College students took part in the sit-ins in the next day. As the week unfolded, dozens of young people, including students from the Women's College of the University of North Carolina, flocked to lunch counters and asked to be served. And again, we know that this continued until July 25th, 1960. The Greensboro Woolworth lunch counter was fully integrated. Counters in other cities did the same in subsequent months. In addition to desegregating dining establishment, the sit-ins led to the creation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Raleigh, North Carolina, by activist Ella Baker becoming the director. We'll talk about SNCC later on this month. But again, it's very important for you guys to understand. I went to Bennett College, so I kind of have a little insight on the story. My aunt was actually, who went to Bennett College as well, was actually one of the students that was arrested protesting the Greensboro sit-ins, and she also was a freshman and scared out of her mind to hear her tell the story. This was a planned attack. But the four students from Greensboro were getting impatient because they felt like the leaders, the NAACP, was coming up with reasons for them to keep pushing the protests back further and further. And so finally they were tired and they decided they were going to go ahead and make it happen. It was successful. It took about 6 months from February to July, about 5 months. But ultimately they were, well, July 25th, so about 6 months. Anyway, but ultimately they were very successful. So go ahead and put your comments in the video and let me know how you guys think about the Greensboro 4. Did you learn something? Did you already know this information? Let's talk about it.